There was a study that was done in 2014 where our officers others went to South Africa, others to UK. Then when they came back, they did a survey. A survey was done, and it was realized that we have 3 hotspot areas in the Republic of Kenya. There were 3 hotspot areas in the Republic of Kenya.
They still are.
Where the elderly were being abused. Number 1 is in Kilifi. Number 2 is in Kisii. You know, Kisii means both Kisii County and Nyamira County.
That's correct.
And then number 3, it was Kirinyaga in Central.
Yeah.
Then the government decided to put up an older person center for the neglected, abused, and abandoned. Neglected, abused, and abandoned. So the government constructed the Kirinyaga Older Persons Center. It is in Mwea. And currently it has 17 older persons from different counties, Isiolo, Kirinyaga, Embu.
Was that a national center?
Yes, it's a national center.
Okay. Not only for Central?
Not only for Central. And you remember we developed the guidelines for the establishment of older person centers. These guidelines can be used by
private entities?
By private entities who want to come up with a center, or the national government or the county government. 2022, we also came up with the Children Act.
Yeah.
And you know, it talks about the rights of children. So the issues are also discussed in the National Positive Parenting Program, where parents are taught on how to nurture their children positively from the time they are born and up to the age of adulthood.
So it is in these policies?
Yes, it is. This is a manual.
These manuals?
Yes.
They can get them through the churches, through our departments?
Yeah, when the policy will be launched,
yeah,
it will be shared. You know, we don't want these documents to be kept in the shelves.
Yeah.
The Family Promotion and Social Welfare Programs deals with the older persons and aging programs, and then family strengthening programs. And then we also have the issues of lay volunteer counselors. This is where we want the communities. You know, the challenges that are facing the communities can only be addressed by the people who understand those challenges.
Yeah.
We enlisted about 1,800 lay volunteer counselors. Lay volunteers, those ones who offer themselves to support the communities, at least to support them on family promotion programs, and maybe to enlighten them about how they can go about to improve their livelihoods. Then we have the Community Capacity Support Development Program. We are majorly known as a directorate for the registration of community groups, that is the self-help groups and CBOs.
Actually, that's all I knew about social protection.
Yes, that's just a small component of the directorate. The year 2022, we developed a law, the Community Group Registration Act of 2022, to guide on how to operate these self-help groups and community groups within the community. And then we also have the persons with disabilities programs. It is still within the same directorate, where we want to empower the vulnerable members of society, particularly those who have one form or another in terms of disability. We also do what we call vocational rehabilitation and training for persons with disabilities. In Kenya, we have 12 institutions that trains trainees with disabilities, and these vocational training centers are they are spread across the country, but they are 12 in number. And the highest region the region that has the highest number is Western Kenya, which has vocational rehabilitation in Itando, Kakamega, and Odiado in Busia. Then we have one in Kisii, we have one in Kericho, we have one in Kabarnet, that is in Baringo, we have one in Embu, we have one in Muranga, which is Moriranjas, then we will have one in Nyandarua, then we have Machakos, there is one in Taita Taveta that is called Ibura, and And we also have one in Nairobi, which is Industrial Rehabilitation Center.
And where is our country on the UN Convention on the Rights of Older Persons?
Okay, you are aware. Okay, next month there is what we call the open-ended working group on aging.
Correct.
Yes, we have no convention for the older persons. We have no UN convention. For the last, I think, for the last 13 years, countries have been meeting in the UN to lobby so that we can have a convention for the older persons. You are aware we have convention for the children, the convention for persons with disability,
For
yes,
women and
for
all
women,
that,
yes. So we are also fighting. Most African countries, almost all African countries, they are lobbying to ensure that the convention for the older persons is implemented by the UN. It's recognized.
Hello viewers, good afternoon and welcome to Lissel Network. Again, a beautiful day, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for the continued support of our channel of giving information, educating and inspiring Kenyans. Thank you for being our followers. Thank you for coming as guests. Thank you for all you do to support the older persons in our country. And you know what? Like I told you, you'll continue interviewing and getting information from all the stakeholders as pertaining the care of our older persons and their dignity in Kenya. Today, we are the biggest office in Kenya, the government office, and you want to hear from the office of the Directorate of Social Development, and this is our State Department under the Ministry of Labor. And with us, I'm going to introduce one and the only Lissel Mogaka, the Acting Secretary, Directorate for Social Protection, State Department for Social Protection and Senior Citizen Affairs under the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. With us this afternoon, we are visiting Mr. Lissel. Mr. Lissel, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, madam.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Thank you
Yes,
for giving us the opportunity of coming to your office so that you can give our viewers and Kenyans all about your office. Many just see it on papers. They don't understand.
I'm happy to be with you tonight, the Kenya Pro Aging Organization. First, I would like to thank you for the efforts you are doing to ensure that most Kenyans are informed about the issues concerning the older persons.
Thank you so much, Lissel.
As you heard earlier, my name is Lissel Mogaka, Acting Secretary, Directorate of Social Development, which is within the State Department for Social Protection and Senior Citizen Affairs. Welcome.
Thank you so much again for the warm welcome. And a lot of Kenyans might hear, how long have you been in the department?
I've been here for about 18 years.
18 years,
yes.
In the same department.
Yes.
And maybe a lot of Kenyans think since you are like hired to work for the government of Kenya, you have always worked here, we don't know your journey. Can you talk to Kenyans and tell them your journey?
Yes, my life did not start in this directorate. It started way back in 1990 when I started teaching as a secondary school teacher, where I taught for a period of 16 years. I rose through the ranks up to the top. Then thereafter, I joined the directorate, the Ministry of Youth and Sports. That was in 2007 as a youth training officer who was in charge of youth training programs and empowerment. Then thereafter, after 4 years, I joined this Directorate of Social Development. By then, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Development, where I've risen through the ranks up to where I am currently. Wow. So I've been here since 2010. That's around 14 years. Yes. But I've worked in the government for the last 30 years.
Wow.
Yes. It's a long journey.
It's a long journey.
And maybe if I can tell you about this, the State Department for Social Protection and Senior Citizen Affairs, which is within the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. The State Department has 4 directorates. There are 2 technical departments, that is the Directorate of Children's Services and the Directorate of Social Development, which I head. And then there is the Social Assistance Directorate, which deals with the cash transfers, and the National Social Protection Secretariat, whose main aim is to deal with the policies that are geared towards empowerment of the vulnerable people, vulnerable members of the society.
Wow. So that's a very good introduction, description of your office.
Yes.
And a lot of Kenyans may not understand unless you tell them in tangible things that the government does. In those departments you are talking about, do you have programs that you have for the...
Yes. Yeah? I will specifically talk about the Directorate of Social Development,
Which is a directorate?
the one that I'm heading, which is within the ministry. Its main focus is to build capacities and enhance the protection of individuals, families, and the communities for improved livelihoods. And there are several programs within that whose main objective is building capacities and empowering the most vulnerable members of the society. First, we have the Older Persons and Aging Program, which is within the Division of Family Promotion and Social Welfare. The Family Promotion and Social Welfare programs deals with the Older Persons and Aging programs, and then family strengthening programs. And then we also have the issues of lay volunteer counselors. This is where we want the communities. The challenges that are facing the communities can only be addressed by the people who understand those challenges.
Yeah.
We enlisted about 1,800 lay volunteer counselors. Lay volunteers are those ones who offer themselves to support the communities, at least to support them on family promotion programs, and maybe to enlighten them about how they can go about to improve their livelihoods. Then we have the Community Capacity Support Development Program. We are majorly known as a directorate for the registration of community groups, that is the self-help groups and CBOs.
Actually, that's all I knew about social protection.
Yes, that's just a small component of the directorate. The year 2022, we developed a law, the Community Group Registration Act of 2022, to guide on how to operate these self-help groups and community groups within the community. And then we also have the persons with disabilities programs. It is still within the same directorate, where we want to empower the vulnerable members of the society, particularly those who have one form or another in terms of disability. We also do what we call vocational rehabilitation and training for persons with disabilities. In Kenya, we have 12 institutions that trains trainees with disabilities. And these vocational training centers are they are spread across the country, but they are 12 in number. And the highest region the region that has the highest number is Western Kenya, which has vocational rehabilitation in Itando, Kakamega, and Odiado in Busia. Then we have one in Kisii, we have one in Kericho, we have one in Kabarnet, that is in Baringo, we have one in Embu, we have one in Muranga, which is Moriranjas, then we will have one in Nyandarua, then we have Machakos, there is one in Taita Taveta that is called Ibura, and we also have one in Nairobi, which is Industrial Rehabilitation Center.
You just said these rehabilitation centers, there are 12 of them.
Yes, there
and
are
most
12.
of them are concentrated on the western part of the country.
No,
is there any reason?
Just western part, there are 3 in western.
Western part, when you say
in the former Western
you
Kenya.
You say Nyanza, because I've had several in Western Kenya, I've had in Kericho. For us, that's all Western Kenya.
But in Central, we have Muriranjas, which is Muranga.
No, I'm asking, is there any reason? Is it like there is?
No, there is no reason.
But I didn't hear any in Northeastern.
When they were, it's only in the former provinces, it's only in Northeastern that we don't have. But all the former provinces we have at least
more
one.
than.
At least
and
one.
And the Eastern, I've heard there is one in Embu.
Yes, there is one in Embu. And Machakos is in Eastern. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, then basically on issues, because what I can see from the Kenya Pro Aging organization, their main objective is to improve the welfare of the elderly persons.
That is correct.
And our major, it is our directorate, that's the Directorate of Social Development, that has the major mandate, the mandate of taking care of the older persons. Specifically the State Department for Social Protection and Senior Citizen Affairs. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So from the Directorate of Social Development, we have the Older Persons and Aging Policy of 2018.
Yeah, let's
Yes.
talk about that policy.
Yeah.
That bill.
No, it's not a bill.
There's a bill and there's
yes,
a policy.
Yes, there is a bill.
Okay, let's talk about
A
the policy.
A policy
first.
is just to give guidelines on the issues that affect the older persons and the strategies that the government is using.
Just guidelines.
Not only the government, including partners.
Like
Yeah, what we can use to ensure that the older persons' issues are addressed. You are aware that we have the cash transfer programs for the older persons. We have 3 cash transfer programs. That is for the older persons, the persons with severe disabilities, and orphans and vulnerable children, which apparently falls within the Directorate of the State Department for Social Protection and Senior Citizen Affairs. But our main focus now, as the Directorate of Social Development, we are majorly focusing on the older persons and the persons with disabilities.
Okay,
Yes,
as a department.
Yes, as a
And
department.
now this department, is the department or the protection department, is it devolved?
Okay.
Is it a devolved function?
It's not a devolved function. This is a national function. But social protection issues are shared functions within the national government and the county governments. Yeah. You know, each county has got its own unique strategies of addressing social protection programs.
You know,
and the national government complements what the county governments are doing.
you know, a lot of Kenyans, the citizens out there, when they hear about the social protection, that's why I'm asking, is it down in the counties? Is it a national? You know, there are these devolved and non-devolved functions. If it is a function which is devolved, where if they wanted services, where would they
It's
go?
a function of both the national government and the county government. You know, like now, I remember there is a quotation that I like quoting. When you have a patient is a patient for the national government or the county government. That's a human being. So it's both the county government and the national government that should take care of.
But these laws actually they confuse
For us,
sometimes,
no.
So this is national function.
Yes, it's a national.
But it is in counties.
Yes, it's
your
in
offices.
county. Yes.
Where
For example, the beneficiaries of the cash transfer are everywhere,
Yeah.
right? From all the counties and sub-counties or all the locations, wards, you will find those beneficiaries there. Now, from our part, we have officers spread across all the counties and the regions. We have offices in the 8 regions. We have social development officers in the region. In the regions, you know, we have 8 regions, the former provinces.
Yes.
Then we have 47 counties. We have the heads, the coordinator, the county coordinator for social development for each county in the Republic of Kenya. That is the 47 counties. And then we have this
that's a development office.
Yes, and social development.
Social
then we have
development office,
sub-county social development officers who are spread throughout the country.
Yeah.
We have around 370 offices throughout the country, which we
so
manage.
Kenyans would get services
Yes,
that you
yes.
offer as a department at any
at-
level
yes,
in
at
this
the,
country.
the lowest level is at the sub-county level.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
The sub-county is where there is a
yes,
DC,
yes,
district
yes,
commissioner.
yes. Where all these services are found. Maybe to expound on the mandate,
Yeah.
the mandate of the Directorate of Social Development, if I want to, you know, usually during the formation of each government, you know, governments come after every 5 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
They change mandate?
No, sometimes the mandate changes or we are added more mandate.
It is amended.
More responsibilities.
Or reduced.
Yeah, no, not reduced. We are given responsibilities as a directorate. What is it that we need to offer to the public? Now, the Directorate of Social Development, which currently falls under the State Department for Social Protection, its main mandate is derived from the executive order. The executive order, that's number 1 of 2023. The first thing the president does is to give the executive order where each ministry or department knows what they're supposed to do. From the Directorate of Social Development, the major mandate is the policies on social development. We have to develop policies and programs for social development, policy and programs for persons with disabilities, then vocational training and rehabilitation of persons with disabilities, the national volunteerism policy. Even volunteerism
Okay, I
falls
hear
under
now the mandate.
No, I still want to let you know maybe where you'll find where your interest will be. Policy and programs for older persons, community development policy, community mobilization, registration of self-help groups, family promotion and protection policy, social assistance programs, and economic inclusion programs. So I'm sure your major interest or our major interest for now is the older persons and aging.
My major interest is Kenyans.
Yes, yes.
All of them,
Okay.
because even the older
So,
persons,
yes.
you cannot separate them with their children
Yes.
with disability.
Yeah.
They are all a combo.
Yes.
That is why if one of them is broken down, the other one cannot
Yes,
go.
yes.
Even older persons cannot progress if their children are not
Yes.
doing right.
I will also
So let me go to my question.
Yes.
You talked about the mandate of the formulation of the policies
Yes.
and about the older persons.
Yes.
Okay, let me get to that.
Yes.
It's you said the only thing that so far you have is guidelines.
No,
And
we have guidelines for the establishment of older persons institutions.
Yeah.
That's a document.
do you have a policy?
Yes, I
you
said that
talked
we have a
about the
policy, older
policy.
persons and aging
Okay.
policy. And then again, I'm happy to let you know that last year, October, the cabinet approved the family promotion and protection policy. Yes, all along we did not have a family promotion and protection policy.
Do you
Yes.
that one include the older persons?
You know, an older person is within a family.
Within the
Yes,
family.
yes.
Let's talk now about the older persons bill. I have heard that the department of the department has guidelines and policies already there for the older persons. Tell us about the bill. Do you
Yes.
have any bill passed for the older persons
No,
so far?
we don't have, but we are developing the older persons bill, which is led by the government, or which is led by the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection through the State Department for Social Protection and Senior Citizens Affairs. Yeah, it is the work of our PS to give us that responsibility to ensure that we have developed that bill. That is what is going on right now as we talk.
It's being developed?
Yes. As you are aware, there have been several bills that have been taken to the National Assembly and the Senate to talk about the issues of the older persons. We have gone through those bills as a ministry or as the government. We looked at them because there is no bill that can go through Parliament without the input of the parent ministry or a department that deals with that issue. We provided our comments, but unfortunately they did not go through. We realized that it is now the one we are developing is spearheaded by the government.
So are you trying to say...
Which I'm sure after...
Let me ask a question.
Yes.
Are you trying to say if a bill is not... that okay, it is important, yes, of course, your input, because you are the implementers
Yes.
at the end of the day. If your input as a government, it's not there, it must be the only one that will determine. Are there inputs from other societies, from Kenyans?
You are aware, thank you for that question. You are aware that there is no bill that goes through without public participation. Yes. When it will be developed, it will be subjected to public participation, where you can give your input or for more input that you feel
Also,
that
I
were
was
not captured.
wondering if it has reached that far, and so far, even me as a Kenyan citizen who is so much interested in the issues of older persons, have not been able to see that bill that is being formulated.
No, it
so
has.
it is yet to come to us.
It's, you know, there is what we call silo draft. The silo draft will be developed, then it will be subjected for the other processes where public participation is part of it before it is finalized.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Mogaka, and where is our country on the UN Convention on the Rights of Older Persons?
Okay, you are aware. Okay, next month there is what we call the open-ended working group on aging.
Correct.
Yes, we have no convention for the older persons. We have no UN convention. For the last, I think, for the last 13 years, countries have been meeting in the UN to lobby so that we can have a convention for the older persons. You are aware we have convention for the children, the convention for persons with disability,
For
yes,
women and
for
all
women,
that,
yes. So we are also fighting. Most African countries, almost all African countries, they are lobbying to ensure that the convention for the older persons is implemented by the UN. It's recognized.
And why do you think is this delay? It has taken too long.
No, there is no delay. Every year, for the last 13
No,
years.
I know, but there are never and any convention you are saying.
Yes.
It's, you are lobbying for it, you are advocating for it. Why has it not been
For the
there?
last, I think for the last 13 years, they have been consolidating ideas together so that they come up with that convention. Next month, May, we'll be having the UN will be having the open-ended working group on aging, where where member countries come together, sit and deliberate on issues to do with the rights of the older persons. Yeah.
So our country is also doing something on that.
Yes, for the last I think.
Yeah, I remember we were working on the paper last year.
I think for the last 6 years we have been participating. Even last year, I happened to represent our peers in that the open-ended working group on aging.
In New York.
Yes, and also this year, next month, the same conference will be there, where we'll discuss about the issues to do with infrastructure, climate change, yeah, and then relate them to the rights of the older persons.
I know as a result of abuse of older persons in the country, I remember the government came up with an elderly rescue home in Kirinyaga. I think the only one of its kind. Maybe
Yes.
you tell us.
Yes.
So far, how many Kenyans or older persons, because every day we hear they are killed there, they are abused here and there, how many have been rescued so far in that home?
Okay, thank you for that question. Allow me to give you the background of why we came up with the Older Person Center in Kirinyaga. There was a study that was done in 2014 where our officers others went to South Africa, others to UK. Then when they came back, they did a survey. A survey was done, and it was realized that we have 3 hotspot areas in the Republic of Kenya. There were 3 hotspot areas in the Republic of Kenya.
They still are.
Where the elderly were being abused. Number 1 is in Kilifi. Number 2 is in Kisii. You know, Kisii means both Kisii County and Nyamira County.
That's correct.
And then number 3 it was Kirinyaga in Central.
Yeah.
Then the government decided to put up an older person center for the neglected, abused, and abandoned. Neglected, abused, and abandoned. So the government constructed the Kirinyaga Older Persons Center. It is in Mwea. And currently it has 17 older persons from different counties, Isiolo, Kirinyaga, Embu.
That's a national center?
Yes, it's a national center.
Okay. Not only for Central?
Not only for Central. And you remember we developed the guidelines for the establishment of older person centers. These guidelines can be used by
private entities?
By private entities who want to come up with a center, or the national government or the county government. And we are also planning, if funds will be availed, we are planning to establish one in Kilifi. You are aware that now what we need to do is to create awareness about elder abuse so that we don't abuse the elderly, we embrace them and take care of them. As I talked earlier, I told you that we came up with the National Family Promotion and Protection Policy. The policy was approved last year, October, and it is going to be launched the next month, May 15, during the International Day of the Family. In that policy, we have also come up with what we call the National Positive Parenting Program. In that National Positive Parenting Program,
I remember I was part of that.
Yeah, we have developed the National Positive Parenting Program guidelines. Then we have also come up with Positive Parenting Training Manual.
That's it.
Positive
So
parenting.
this is a positive.
Yeah. And then we have also come with the National Positive Parenting Training Manual Implementation Guide.
Wow.
We want these materials to be used by stakeholders.
Who are these stakeholders?
You are one of them. The church, the government, ourselves, so that we use them to
Wow.
create awareness on how we are supposed to bring our families.
Okay.
Our main focus is to ensure that the family, being the bedrock of the society, we want this. First of all, what we need to take up is that as a family, what is my responsibility as far as taking care of the elderly, or taking care of what are my responsibilities?
Okay, I'm coming to that.
Yes.
Still on the question of the Kirinyaga home.
Yes.
You say so far there are 17 people there, older persons, and the criteria of having them there, they must be abused, they must be neglected. Yes, those are the people we put them
They
there.
must be vulnerable.
They must be vulnerable.
Vulnerabilities.
Now, because I know I've been going around the whole country, and not only Kirinyaga or the 17, and I'm sure many more, maybe the creating of awareness of knowing your rights and where to go has not been there. What could be the challenge of, we are not saying that we are encouraging people to go to that home, but we are saying what could be the challenge, because there must be a challenge. Is that the people don't know about it, or is it that the Kenyans have not abused or neglected
In
older
fact,
persons?
if we carry out research, you will find that there are several forms of abuse. Yes. Sometimes maybe when you go home, you find your mother is not dressed in a way that can entice you, so you force her to wear a different clothes. But to her, she feels that she's okay. I can call that as a
That's why I'm asking, because we know all those forms of abuses are everywhere.
Yes.
Now, for this home to have only 17 people, is there a challenge? Or is there that, do they come and then they are chased out of there, you do not qualify? Or is that
No,
we have no abused Kenyans? What could be the challenge? Or is that people don't know about it?
Of course, we have abused, very many abused Kenyans, older persons, but such cases are rare. Realize that
Rarely reported.
yes, you realize that most of the abuses are done by family or close family members. Yes. So people will not like to expose their weaknesses.
So that is a challenge.
Yes, that's a serious challenge.
Because they don't know their rights.
Yes, they
don't even know they are being abused.
Yes.
Okay.
They can know that they are being abused, but they don't want to let other neighbors know that they are being abused.
They care about what people will say thereafter.
Even if they are suffering in silence.
So can we tell Kenyans that there is that home in Kirinyaga? Because a lot of them, they don't know.
There is a home in Kirinyaga.
Yes.
But I don't encourage families to abandon their older persons.
It's not encouragement, but there are many out there, Mr. Mogaka,
there is a
who
majority.
do not even know where they can get the service. And maybe even when they hear Kirinyaga, they think it is for people from Kirinyaga.
Yes.
So
And
maybe you can make that clarification now.
Yes, madam. There are also several such homes, but they are owned by religious organizations. But that's the only one for the government. Yes.
Yeah, because like the one owned by the Catholic
Catholics,
Church.
yes. They have
that
done,
one has so many people.
Yes, they have done a lot.
They have done a lot. That's why I'm wondering, this is for the government. It has only 17. Is it that it is not known?
No, we don't want to focus on the number. Yeah. Or the higher the number. You know, when the number is less, that's when we can say that the elder abuse is reducing.
So I said you are coming there. Now, this is a time I want you to tell us now about the Family Protection Day, which is coming on the 15th.
Okay.
Tell us about it and what do Kenyans need to know about it? What is it about? Yes.
Okay. We are celebrating the International Day of the Family on 15th, which is usually, it's an international day that is usually celebrated on 15th of May each year. And we are launching the Family Promotion and Protection Policy. And then at the same time, from that policy, that's where we came up with the National Positive Parenting Program. We also want to roll out the National Positive Parenting Program to other stakeholders to know what the government is doing. It's not only the government, it's not the responsibility of just the government to take care of the family. It is my responsibility, it is your responsibility. We want to make the public be aware that this is what we should be doing.
So what you are saying on that UN International Day for Families, this is a day for all over the world.
Yes, all over
and
the
now
world.
As a country or as a government, you decided to come up with a policy to protect our Kenyans.
Yeah, to protect
That's what
the
I'm
family.
saying. So that's what one of your activities will be launching and making sure Kenyans understand about what that policy about.
Yes, talks
Then
about.
what is that policy about? Tell them. Because you're going to launch it.
I've already talked about the
the
National Positive Parenting Program.
Uh-huh.
As you are aware, there are so many ills that have taken place in our society. There is a lot of child abuse, child neglect. There is also, we have also noted, as we were discussing, there is elder abuse, neglect, and abandonment. You know, these issues needs to be brought to the limelight of the public that they are there. And then we look for strategies of how we should address them, of how we should minimize them. You are aware that most of the 2022, we also came up with the Children Act.
Yeah.
And you know, it talks about the rights of children. So the issues are also discussed in the National Positive Parenting Program, so where parents are taught on how to nurture their children positively from the time they are born and up to the age of adulthood.
So it is in these
Yes,
policies.
yes, it is.
And
This is a manual.
These manuals,
Yes, yes.
they can get them through the churches,
Yeah.
through our departments.
Yeah, when the policy will be launched,
Yeah.
it will be shared. You know, we
Yeah.
don't want these documents to be kept in the shelves.
Yeah.
People need to know what is contained therein. How can we use them to ensure? In fact, the ultimate goal is to improve the well-being of our families. Yes.
Yeah.
To have functional families. You understand what the functional family is? Yes.
Okay, so now that you're talking about the function of families, I think like last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, there is one boy from social media by name Chira, and I thought that should have been the turning point of everyone in this country as people care about families. And from what I saw, what I heard throughout the 2 weeks until his burial, I thought we have a very mentally healed society.
Yes.
Because, and that is where I was like, where is the government? Where is the church? Where even societies and organizations like us? Because I understand you have psychologists, you have counselors. Are they in your department?
We have just enlisted lay volunteer counselors. They just have the basics of
You
counseling.
see now,
Yes,
that
yes.
means that is we have a gap there.
And to be a social development officer, some of the qualification is that you also need to have some knowledge about psychology.
So, but the government can provide that. So what I thought is that as a country, we have we are mentally ill. And because this young man, all along, he was like projecting, wanting attention. This is a young man who lost his mother when he was 8 years old. He was left with an aunt. The aunt also passed on. A very bright boy in school. Even the school was aware about how bright he was. A boy who had a future, who was anticipating to be somebody. And Kenyans, we are watching and we are listening. We have the church, we have the school, the government, the community, the neighbors, everyone. And the boy, he wanted to take himself to school so much. He managed to take himself to Kabarak school. And he was doing some very serious degrees with the mathematics and something. And all along, and he was saying the things he did. He even talked about contacting HIV/AIDS. And those who are watching, they know the story. And Kenyans were hearing and were laughing. And the boy got into drinking so much. I think he was in so much depression. And eventually he was knocked down by a car and died. And this is of someone who never rested, who never ceased to say, I have no friends, I'm by myself. I want to finish my education. I got HIV/AIDS. You know, even that one by itself needs some counseling. By itself.
Yes.
It's not just getting there in the hospital, getting results, and you just go home, you go and talk it over.
Counseled.
And that's why we have our children out there in TikTok and all these media, social media, that are the media places. They are talking there and we are just laughing. We think it's a laughing matter. And now we are talking about launching a policy on families. And these things, no, I was thinking this is a very serious thing because there are so many young people, they are hurting. There are so many, even women out there hurting. And that's why every day someone killed somebody, someone hanged themselves, someone killed all the children. It's not even long ago, even yesterday. And we are hearing these stories. These are symptoms of some hidden, some problems which are there. So what is the take of our government on this? Because as an individual, as an organization, I think this should be the turning point on how we take things. What do you
allow
think?
me to.
Yes.
Thank you. You have taken a long time to explain about that. It's a very important issue. In the family promotion and protection policy, there are several strategies that, as a country, we need to adopt to ensure that we take care of our families well. One of the strategies is to come up with the positive parenting program. Now, it's good that you have talked about in the national positive parenting program, the issues that are discussed now, that is in this book, the issues that we need to take our stakeholders through, or those who are interested. For example, we have family relationships. We need to talk about family relationships. We make our families be aware what are the family relationships, supporting our children as they develop, supporting children's development. Then we look at building a strong and secure attachment within ourselves, caring for ourselves and caring for others. Then positive communication within the family setup, positive play and preparing to learn, values and positive discipline. These are issues that needs to be inculcated in our young generation. There is also what we call positive male involvement. We have realized that most of the time in our society, the men have sat back to watch the mothers take care of their children. I'm sorry to say that, but now we need to involve them. Both of them, both parents, if through God's grace, if they are both there, let them take care of their children. In case of where there is maybe one parent, we come from a family, we come from a society, we come from a community. And in that community, we have, that boy has uncles. Yes. It's our responsibility to realize that maybe if my sister is coming up as children, but unfortunately, is
there a law we are going to apply there?
Not a law. I will call it common sense. You know, everything. You know, we have what we call common law.
Common sense is not for everybody.
Yes, we have what we call common law. Even in your own thinking. Yes, as a society. Yes, for those who grew up during my time of growing up, you know, taking care of a child was the responsibility of apart from the family, even the community, the
That's-
aunties,
that
the
is
uncles,
what,
and
that is what was happening then, eh?
yes.
But now things have changed.
Yes, allow me
Like
to.
the taking of the
Yes,
time,
yeah,
like the taking care of the older persons.
yes.
And even if we say, I remember off camera, you told me that the African countries, they are not of the opinion of encouraging homes for the older persons. I think it is the high time we encourage, because things have changed. The way you grew up is not the way your son has grown up, and it's not the way
Their children will
their
grow.
children will grow. And we have to accept that by 2050, actually that is statistically done, by 2050, the older persons will be more than the children who are being born. You may be, like I remember we were 8, I don't know how many you are, but your children, how many children do they have? For example,
2,
maybe they
1,
have 2, 1, or even nothing.
Yes.
So who do you expect now will be the persons to take? That is why we cannot just ignore. Even those countries that have, at one time, they used also to have the family ties, the Scandinavian countries, all these. They are very homely, by the way. They know so much about the home ties. But things have changed. Migration is there. People, children have moved. The parents, because of your nature of work,
Yeah,
it is not us. We used to come in the evening and find our parents, our mom at
the
home.
economic situation
The mom
has-
was not working.
Yes.
Now both of you are working. You find a very quick solution that our children should even go to a boarding school. That is already detaching. And now we have this generation here. That is our children. This generation, before you implement this, kuna generation hapa which is almost completely lost. So how do we restore that?
Excuse, it is
Yes.
us who have allowed that generation
Yes,
to be
we
lost.
have.
Yes.
Not even knowing. No.
Unknowingly.
Because even knowing, you would not have done it.
Yes.
If you knew something would have affected your son or your daughter, you wouldn't have done it. But now that it happened, and that is like the case of Chira, Brian Chira, the case was there. My point is, as a society, as religious institutions, as in government, as in neighbors, as friends, where are we? That is where I'm seeing the gap. And that is where the Africanism, the socialism comes in. And this is why we said mtoto alikuwa akila mtu. Kama mtoto alikuwa akila mtu, why was Brian crying by himself? I'm hurting, I have no friend, my mom died, I have no one. And it is true, he was by himself. He is there, but he is alone. He could be in the social media. You know, social media, they will be talking with so many people. So you think, so with this kind of social media thing, I like the policies, yes, but right now, do you think the government can do for this gap that we have? And that's why I was thinking, that's where the social workers, if we have them as a country, yes.
We have the children officers, the social development officer, we have the community child protection volunteers who are supposed to assist
With no much knowledge. You said they are volunteers.
Yeah, if you can remember, even as we grew up, it's not that those who brought us up had the modern knowledge which we have now, but there were systems, there were values that were being inculcated in us. If those values can still be inculcated in our children now, and we stress on them, we are going to have a functional society.
Do you think they can?
They can. That's why we have
Do
come.
you think
That's
wave of this generation Z, this wave of things happening, technology, new things coming every night, there are new things coming. Do you think we can beat the wave?
Yes,
we should come up in a way that we can incorporate.
We embrace that technology to ensure that we take up our values. We don't discard the technology that is there. We make the technology to be useful to us. We don't say that it is not useful. For example, you talked about TikTok. The developers of TikTok, their main intention was different from what we are using it for it now. Yes. It was just a sales strategy. For us, it's just entertaining. And we don't even censor the information that is being sent through that platform for entertainment. No, it is just to let them know that it's not everything that you consume is right. We are taking sugar. Is sugar so good for us? Yeah. It's good when you are aware, so you decide to take the best because we have our rights.
So there is a need to create more awareness.
Yes, that is that is it.
To create more awareness
Yes.
of the dangers.
Yeah, of the dangers, of the positive attributes and the negative attributes. We emphasize on the positive because the positive attributes will take us far. For example, now, in this program, we want creating peaceful homes together. That's the gap. We have realized that most homes are not peaceful.
How do you do that?
It's that through learning, we create awareness amongst ourselves.
Familia, from now the government wants peaceful homes. Start being peaceful.
No, that's not the issue. Okay. Yeah. As a mother, I believe, or as a father, yeah. What is it that we are telling our children? Yeah. What is it that we are showing them in our own homes? Yes. That they learn. Yes. I looked at the book of Joel. The book of Joel, the older persons, the elderly dream, and the young people realize the vision. I have a dream, and as a young person will take up that dream and make it a reality. There is what we call intergenerational solidarity. We need to work in harmony. That's between the older persons and the younger generation. What is it that I can learn from a young boy? Maybe in terms of technology, even how to use my phone, to use the applications. They are the ones to take me through. Okay. As an older person, I will also take them through how they will become responsible husbands or wives as they grow up.
Okay, now as we wind up, Mr. Mogaka,
yes.
I think I have some advice maybe to our government if it listens to us.
Yes.
And I like the policies that the family board that is great as a government. And I think what our government should do, because you want to restore the way things were before, or even better now, to have a good understanding between the young and the old, the bridging the gap. I think as we have so many older persons now, and even the retiring age is going proposed to be reduced very soon. I'm not saying it has, but still even at 60, someone is still young and knowledgeable. What if our government made use of these older persons? You allocate them. No. In our department, don't defend it, just defending. I'm suggesting because I know soon you retire. I'm going to retire, and the minute we have a lot of knowledge, this is the time you have reached climax as an older person. You have to acknowledge all the knowledge you wanted. Like no one even can equate your experience. If someone comes from university today with that. So let's say you retire maybe in 2 or 3 years' time. Does it mean that you just go home? How can we come up in those policies you are coming up with, the way we can incorporate, even if it's on volunteer, we encourage the older persons to be doing that.
You have just said what I wanted to say. Stopping formal employment is not the end of your life. It is taking another step. When we have not talked about the current government, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, where social protection is so much emphasized. If we can get, the challenges as you age is health. Health is the first thing. Medical cover, yes. Of course, we are seeing about we are seeing housing. If you have a good medical cover, that's good health. We have good food, where you are sleeping is good, then we'll develop. And you have talked about volunteerism. There was a study that was done, a survey that was done, and it was realized that the majority of volunteers, even in Kenya, if there is that study, the majority of the volunteers are the older persons. Yes. And these volunteers, the young people are learning from them. Yes. We are mentoring them, as they see what we have been doing, and then they also do it.
Anyway,
but they can also do it better now.
As you give your parting shot,
Yes.
we're about to finish. Me, what I'm just requesting is the government make use of these older persons. And just because someone is 60 years and above does not mean that their brains have shut. As you're coming up with good policies for families, bring them where, not necessarily, even come up with a program where you make sure, if, let's say, for example, in the villages,
Yes.
where we have the MarthaKoome. The MarthaKoome,
Yes,
it's about guarding, making sure the security is okay. Who would make a better, Linda, better MarthaKoome than someone who was before in the military or in the police?
Yes.
It's not you. It's someone who has been in the security department.
I can
Who would make a better, no, it's not just an argument.
Yes.
We are just talking. I'm asking who can make a better directorate and device of education, like in the counties where you have departments of education that are falling. Why would we not want to see people who have retired, who made the schools do well, and they are just at home and they are just there waiting for the card for the hospital, they are just waiting for the stipend from the government? Why don't we make them useful? These people are made useful in other countries. It's not something to defend. Well, I'm just a suggestion.
Yes,
all these people, they are career people, they have a lot of knowledge. What I'm saying that they be put in the appropriate advisory tables where they can advise. It doesn't have to come to the Department of Social Protection. When you retire, there are groups that need even advice. There are old wazes who meet and they need advice.
Yes.
But then, can the government come, if that's depending, also like you, if you are there, they're advising those teams to be remembered as something. When you go to the U.S., you see those vehicles written, the sheriffs, the county sheriffs.
Yes, I've seen
These
that.
are retired people, police, but they work like 2 days in a week. Instead of just throwing them home, just like that, give them even once a week. And that actually will remove the question of, to reduce social isolation, loneliness, and the stress. Because even if you take the card and you are getting your pension, you go back to your village, you sit down there, I'm telling you, especially men, it's 2 to 3 years you are gone. And the problem is the social isolation. And that is why I usually advocate to have like daycare centers for older persons where you can meet, where you can socialize, where you can share. So we cannot just say the family to do it because the family is not there. But you, as retired older persons, you are there in the villages. So if you know every week you will be meeting somewhere, this is a government initiative where we can meet. And I would propose, if those initiatives could be in every county, at least we have somewhere where the older persons can come even once a week, do activities and practice what they know.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
The challenge we have is that we have not documented such activities are there. The government has taken initiative towards that. You can remember in most of the secondary schools in the village there, the board members are retired people with knowledge. You know, this is the time that you are giving now back to the society in form of volunteerism. You are volunteering with your services, or you are getting just a small token as they also benefit from your knowledge. What we need is just to have a database to at least to know, to make a follow-up of what the...
So through Mr. Mogaka, the government, let's have that database. Let's make use of our older persons. They are knowledgeable. They know things. They can advise. They can help you revive this family policy because them, they are older and they understand what used to happen. That's my word. What's your parting shot? My parting shot is that as a country, it's a high time we have come up with the family promotion and protection policy. And from that policy, we have come up with this National Positive Parenting Program. Let's embrace what is in the policy. And as parents, let's take up our responsibility. Let's make the young generation be aware of what their responsibilities are. What I wanted to say that you have realized that there is this, what I call elder abuse. If awareness is created amongst our families, such
evils or such ills within the society will not happen. And at the same time, the generational gap, that is the older persons and the young persons, they complement each other. We benefit from each other. It's a symbiotic relationship. You benefit, I also do what? I also benefit. Let's not create gaps that if you are you have reached a certain age, we don't need to interact with a young boy. No. We need to tell them how things were done. They can also tell us how fast things are being done now.
Thank you so much. We have almost come to the end of our show. And as we wind up, I have a parting shot. And this one is to our government, to our youth, to our older persons, to our churches and religious institutions, and literally for everyone. At the tree you are enjoying the shade today, it was not planted by you. Someone else did so that you could enjoy. And therefore, we are asking everyone to do their part, and we will enjoy, all of us. For those who have not subscribed, don't forget to click the subscribe button so that you do not miss these episodes. They are inspiring, they are informational, and they are very educative. Thank you so much.
Good.